Hi, this is Katie. In today's video, I'm using a different camera. If you've seen a couple of my recent videos, I have mentioned that my camera, the Canon G7X Mark II that I've been using for years, was just kind of not really working for me anymore. And so right now I am trying out the Sony ZV-1. It's weird to use a different camera. First of all, the viewfinder is over here. On my Canon, it was right above the lens. So if I just looked up a little bit, you kind of couldn't tell. But if I'm gonna look at myself, it's like a lot more noticeable, I think. Anyway. Just want to let you know, trying out a new camera, and I have no clue how this is going to look or sound. I hope it sounds okay. I hope this video still works. I think it's recording. It's a lot different going from a Canon to a Sony, but I'm just trying this camera out. I'm going to try out another camera this week as well and decide which one I want. So anyway, in this video, I kind of want to start doing more mindset, psychological videos. I love talking about mindset. I love talking about psychology, philosophy, like just overall ideas of the world, sociology, all that kind of stuff. I love talking about it with my friends, my family, honestly, whoever will listen. And I know I talk about it sometimes in my videos, but now every once in a while, I want to have like more dedicated videos on psychological things, mindset, stuff like that. I think it's really, really interesting. And I just think that thinking is important. And I think a lot of people don't really think very often because it takes effort and it's hard and it's time consuming and, oh, why would I do that when everything's fine? But in reality, if we actually think about what we're doing and we think about what we're thinking, and we actually think about what's going on in the world around us and not just blindly follow everyone else or blindly even just follow our own initial thoughts, if we actually think about what's true and what's right and what's best, I think that it can be really helpful. And I think that it could be helpful for ourselves internally as an individual, but also like for, you know, your inner circle and also honestly for society. Honestly, I really think that if we think more about things, we are less likely to blame others for our own issues. We are more likely to work on things that we can control. We are just less likely to complain and more likely to put effort into things. And a lot of you guys know that I'm a really big proponent of that. I know that putting effort into things is hard, right? But a lot of things that are worth it are going to be hard. And so it doesn't mean that you have to go out of your way to make your life more difficult, but some things like, you know, having proper mindset, logic, and just understanding even some basic psychology can just really be helpful when you're thinking yourself and when you're talking to other people. So it's something that I want to talk about with you guys. And I already have a list of like 20 or 30 topics that I want to talk about just so we can, you know, take accountability and just think about things. Just think about things. I know that coasting through life is easier, but I think thinking is so important. And so one of the topics that I want to talk about, again, I have a list of like 20 or 30 things, but right now, the one that I want to talk about is social media. And the idea that social media is not, and this is okay, first of all, let me preface all of this by saying these are my opinions, but they're my opinions based on a lot of logic that I know. But also I would love to like have conversations in the comments and hear what you guys think. You know, if we actually properly think about these things, I would love to have these kind of conversations. I hope we don't attack each other for thinking differently, but these are, even though I think that they're logic talks, they are still my opinion on this stuff. So I just hope that that makes sense, because that's one that I want to do too, that opinions are not facts. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. Today, I want to talk about social media. But again, I just want to remind you guys that these are my opinions, but after a lot of thought about them. So the topic of today's video is how social media is not to blame. I don't think that social media is the problem. And here's what I'm talking about. So I am talking about social media in a very broad way of YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I don't use TikTok. I don't know. Even like Snapchat, whatever, all those things, but also including dating apps. I kind of group dating apps in with social media. So Bumble, Tinder, Hinge. I don't know a lot of the other ones. I think that they're kind of grouped together because you can still talk to strangers, right? Or you can talk to the general public and you can share your thoughts and your ideas, right? I have had several conversations about how dating apps make people worse. I think that if you're going to be a crappy person on a dating app, whatever that means, if you're going to be super disrespectful to other people, if you're not going to put effort into talking to someone, whatever it is, I think that that's not the dating app's fault. I think that that is a proof of your own character. If you have true character, if you know who you are, if you have your morals and your boundaries and know how you want to treat other people, then something like social media will not change that. So I don't think that it has changed people. I think it has made it more obvious of who the people are who have character and morals and who the people are who don't. That's my opinion on that. I know some people try to say, well, social media, again, just in general, have made it easier for people to say things without other people seeing their face. So it's easier to just be like a keyboard, what do they call them? Keyboard warrior or something? I understand that idea, right? It's a lot easier to say something mean or say something rude if someone can't see you. And if you're not even saying it to their face. It's a lot easier to comment, I hate your pants, than go up to someone at the grocery store and say, I hate your pants, okay? I get that. However, if you have true character, where you care about other people and you care about how you treat other people, even if you have the initial idea that I don't like that person's pants, you're not going to tell them anyway. You're not going to tell them in public and you're not going to tell them online. And so I just think that saying social media is to blame is a cop-out. I am a huge believer in realizing what you can control and realizing what you can't control. I cannot control the weather, right? It's starting to drizzle here. I cannot control the weather. However, I can control, and me personally, this is me personally, I can control what state I'm in during what weather conditions. That is something under my control. I can also control being inside my car at certain times, right? But there's always different things. And it's up to you to, again, have character and really, really figure out what are the things you can control and what are the things you can't. And honestly, I firmly believe, by the way, I know I'm sounding a little like this in this video because this stuff makes me really, really passionate. So I don't know if I sound mean. In reality, I'm just really passionate about it and I get like really excited talking about it. So I hope that it's not coming off like attacking. It's more like I'm sharing with you my opinion and in hopes that you can share your opinion in the comments because this is very fun for me. Anyway, sorry. See, like I keep looking over there. It's weird with the camera. I think it might look good though. I don't know. I still just hope it's recording because I actually don't know. But anyway, okay. So I just think it's really important for us to figure out what we can control and what we can't. And honestly, I think there are way more things that we can control, but we just pretend that we can't because it's easier. Like if you hate your job, well, I have to stay anyway. Well, why? Why do you have to stay? Oh, because I need the money. Okay, well, can you take 20 minutes at night and look for another job while you're at that job? You know, I think some people just throw blame at either another person, another circumstance, something that they cannot control, instead of thinking if there is anything about a situation that they can control. And again, I think this is where your character, your morals, and really thinking about what you're doing comes into play. And so if you're on social media and you're someone who's going to comment, you're an idiot, you don't need to do that. Just because social media gives you the means does not mean that you have to take action in such a negative way. If you're going to be negative, if you're going to be mean, if you're going to be rude, if you're going to be disrespectful, that's up to you. Nobody's forcing you to do that. So even if someone says something that you think is stupid, it still does not mean that you need to tell them. You could maybe say, hey, I disagree. You know, you can have a conversation, you can be kind, but your tone and your words matter. And I just do not think, and please let me know in the comments if you disagree. I do not think that if someone has character, if someone has their set of morals, if someone knows how they're going to treat other people, that the existence of social media did not change that. It just, I think, made it more obvious of the people who don't have character or the people who let an outside circumstance change them. I don't think that it innately is bad. I don't think social media is innately bad. You literally can go on Instagram and look at puppies and cooking videos. You don't have to look at, the girls who make you feel jealous because they have the family that you want. Or you don't have to look at the girls who are really, really pretty and it makes you jealous because you can't date them. Or it makes you feel something negative, some sort of jealousy, anger. Oh my gosh, how does that person have 1 million followers, but they don't even know how to wear pants that fit them? All those kind of weird negative thoughts that we have, we are choosing to look at those images. And yes, of course, there are some ads and there are some things that are going to pop up on our social media that we don't necessarily choose. That's more like recommended to us, but you can skip over those. You can literally just look at Bible quotes and like videos of seals. You can. It's a choice. It's definitely possible. And if you see something that bothers you or that you start to feel jealousy or anger or like you think you're better than them or like you want to bring them down, I think it's good to like think about that and be like, okay, maybe it's time to scroll. Because we all get those feelings, but we don't have to act on our feelings, right? Hey guys, Editing Katie here, coming at you from inside my friend's house. I'm editing the video right now and I realized that I skipped like a whole part of this chat, because a lot of people also blame social media for depression, anxiety, a lot of internal struggles that they have. And so even if they're not bullies or acting out or being mean to other people, they might be having internal struggles because they're comparing themselves to other people, because they see people online who are different than them, because they see some people online who are showing kind of like their highlight reel and like their best of, but they compare it to their everyday, and so they get jealous or upset, or they're like, why is that person's life better than mine, you know? And that can cause certain levels of stress, depression, jealousy, anxiety, stuff like that. And I didn't talk about that in this video, so I just wanted to mention that really briefly because I still think that the same idea applies. I still think that if you start feeling a little sad because you follow someone who has a perfect life and you wish that a perfect life, nothing is perfect, ever. Nothing is perfect. A lot of people online just show the best of their day, okay? Please remember that. But if you're following someone and you start to get a little upset because you want the life that they are presenting, which again, there's more to it behind the scenes, but what they're presenting, if you start to feel jealous or sad, you can unfollow them or stop watching their stories. Or you can stop watching the YouTube videos of someone whose family seems perfect, right? We still do have that choice. Is it difficult? Yes, because social media is so common. And a lot of, our friends are doing it, or they're posting, or they're scrolling through Instagram, so you're just going to do it too. But we still do have the choice, right? I know some might be peer pressure. Some might be like you just kind of want to fit in, and so you're going to do it too. But we all have to do a personal inventory of what's best for us and what's right for us. So as much as it's not going to be helpful to attack other people, or to be jerks, or to be disrespectful and think it's funny, it's also not good to stay on social media and scroll through Instagram when you can feel that it's hurting you. Even if you're not lashing out at other people, it's still hurting you. It's making you feel jealous or depressed, because that's a huge issue at least in America now. I think there's a lot of people who almost blame social media for their depression or their anxiety when, yes, some of it is thrown in our face. I get that. Some of it is, but we still have the choice of what else we watch. So there's kind of like a few separate things here. There are the people who are disrespectful and why they're disrespectful, but there's also the idea of, well, you still need to protect your heart. And you get to decide, again, not all the time, but a lot of the time, you do get to decide what you see and what you hear. And so if you realize that a lot of stuff on social media is making you anxious or depressed, maybe for you, it's not the right platform, or you're not watching the right channels for you. Again, a lot of what I watch on Instagram is cooking stuff. I like it. I like seeing the recipes, the ideas. A lot of you guys know I have a lot of food allergies, but I still like watching other people cook and eat and try new foods and rate new foods. And that doesn't really make me anxious, but I do follow several influencers, and sometimes what they talk about does make me a little anxious. And so it's up to me to decide, okay, do I completely unfollow them? Or is it just every once in a while, so maybe I just choose when I want to watch their stories or look at their videos? And so I think it's really important to take personal accountability. If you are feeling something negative, see what you can do about it. See if you can maybe get off Instagram for the day, because it's still not Instagram's fault. It makes it a lot easier for people to be spreading hate or spreading misinformation or spreading videos that might make you jealous, but you still have the choice of what you're watching. Does that make sense? And so sometimes that happens to me, like that I'm looking at social media and it's like, I'm getting anxious watching this person or something. And it's like, all right, so stop doing it. And if it gets bad, choose to unfollow them. Don't just blame them for what they're posting, because they get to choose to post whatever they want. That's up to them. And that's between them and God, really. But even what they're posting might be neutral, but it might bother you. That's not the other person's fault if it bothers you. You have the choice to not watch it. Does that make sense? So I also hope that we can do that and kind of protect our hearts and our brains, and not let that negativity overwhelm you. And if you notice it doing it, do something about it. And obviously not all mental health issues are our choice, right? But I'm just saying that if you realize that you're watching something on Instagram and it makes you sad, that is a choice that you have to just not watch it anymore. Because I think that we just like to throw blame on the thing making us sad instead of realizing that we just don't have to interact with the thing that's making us sad, that it was our choice. And again, it's not always our choice. Some things are gonna make us sad, but it's not our choice at all. But there are some things that are, and it's just up to us to know the difference, and know what actually is someone or something else's fault versus what is our fault, or versus what's an accident. And I just think this is a prime example of sometimes people throw too much blame on social media when we just do have the choice. And sometimes maybe it is our fault. Sometimes you are scrolling through Instagram for 3 hours and you start to get angry. I know this is hard, and I know some people are not going to agree with me, and I know this is hard to admit, but sometimes it is your fault. And that's kind of with a lot of things in this world. It's a lot easier to throw blame than to take personal responsibility and to take the blame yourself. But honestly, sometimes it is your fault. Sometimes it's my fault. Sometimes I scroll through Instagram for an hour and I'm watching things that start to make me anxious, but I keep doing it. Sometimes that's my fault. That's my fault. That's not their fault for posting a video that made me upset. I didn't have to watch it. That was my choice. And here's also a thing. I'm not saying I'm perfect at this. I'm not at all. I'm not saying I'm perfect at this. I'm just saying that, the idea of this, I think, is really important to think about it as much as possible. And so I think just blindly blaming social media, well, Bumble made guys lazy. I feel like I hear that all the time. And it's like, well, actually, I've met some guys on Bumble who are not lazy. And you know what? They're probably not lazy and lazy in terms of dating. I mean, like, they're lazy about putting effort into dating. I would bet the guys who are not lazy on Bumble are also not lazy about dating off of Bumble. And I would also bet the guys who are kind of lazy dating on Bumble just kind of don't care about it. They just kind of don't care about it. Maybe they just don't really want to date. They just kind of want to chat and get attention or whatever. Or maybe they just really don't have character, and maybe they really are not fully set on their morals yet. And, so maybe they're growing through it, hopefully. But I don't think Bumble is to blame. I think it has just made it easier to see who already does not have integrity or character or morals. Because you could have even been great at dating or very respectful on the outside, like off social media. But if you're gonna be rude on social media, then what does that say about your integrity and your character? And again, I'm not saying I'm perfect at this. Nobody will be ever perfect at anything. But I think it's good to strive to be as best as we can, and to really again, not only be nicer to other people, but it's in the same token of being nicer to ourselves. If we're spreading negativity, what is that saying about ourselves? But B, that's just adding more negativity to the whole world, which is going to affect us. And so I just think that we need to take more responsibility for that. If you're someone who's going to leave negative comments on someone's Instagram post, maybe before you do it, just kind of think about why. Because in reality, you probably don't need to do it. And if you think it's something that's constructive criticism, okay, but maybe think about DMing them instead. So it's not just public, right? Or if it's going to be public, just see if you can say it in a nice way. But if you can't, then maybe it's not necessary to say, because maybe they like the shirt. And also, your opinion of what's ugly might be different than theirs. I would argue that some people who are online bullies, or who are just rude to some people or disrespectful to some people, is it because you used to be a bully, because you've always kind of been rude, because you kind of don't like yourself very much, and so that's why you're doing it, because you're trying to let the anger out and that's how it's coming out? Or is it because you were never really like that before, but now the opportunity arose? Someone's like, here's a platform where you can hide your face and be mean to people. And you're like, all right, cool, I'll take it. Kind of what is it, The Purge or something? What if there were no laws for 24 hours? Who would start stealing from stores? The people who would start stealing from stores is probably I'm not doing it because it's illegal and because the opportunity has not presented itself. But the people who don't steal from stores, it's probably because they have integrity and they have character. I just think that even if the opportunity is there to do something mean, why would you want to do it? And obviously we all know a lot of people who are bullies or who do mean things. Generally it's because they don't like themselves and they're in a bad spot. But still, I spend a lot of my time not liking myself, but I'm not going on random people's Instagrams and telling them that they're ugly. You don't have to do that. So yeah, I know that I repeat myself a lot. Welcome to my channel. I just always try to explain things as thoroughly as I can to really properly get my thoughts out. I just think that if you have true integrity and true character, even if the opportunity presents itself to be rude or disrespectful, you wouldn't take it. So I don't think we need to blame social media. I still think it's on the individual. That's my opinion on this. And so I think that if you realize that you kind of start leaving nasty comments or you're rude to people or whatever, I think that's just, again, this is all mindset psychology stuff that's fascinating to me. So if you're one of those people who sometimes you're like, oh crap, sometimes I do just leave comments and say that I hate someone's sweater and I don't even know them. Maybe you don't need to do that. And here's my opinion on this. Actually, if you leave a nice comment instead, say, oh, I like your pants. That actually would probably make you feel better anyway than leaving the mean comment. And it would be nicer to them too. So, I mean, that's kind of like a win-win. If you're leaving the mean comment, yeah, you're getting your anger out maybe, but you're spreading negativity into the world and you're not going to feel better about yourself. Just letting you know. But anyway, I just think it's important to work on our character and our integrity. Is it hard? Yes. Is it worth it? Yes. Is it possible? 100%. So anyway, that's kind of my opinion on this. I don't think it's social media's fault. I think it's up to the individual. Does social media make it easier to spread? Yes. But it's not their fault, because you can literally also go look at puppies. So it's not social media's fault. It's our choice who to follow. It's our choice what to say. We choose what we say. We choose what we type. That's our choice. So just blaming social media is just throwing blame and not taking personal responsibility. And I think there's too much of that. I think too many people do not take enough responsibility. Again, I know it's hard, but it's important, because how else are we going to grow as a person? So anyway, that's my opinion on all this stuff. Please let me know in the comments what your opinion on this stuff is. And please let me know also in the comments if you're excited for me to start talking about mindset and psychology more. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I kind of want to start incorporating this on my channel because I really like this stuff. I really like it a lot. And I want to share more of myself with you guys and my thoughts and my ideas and stuff. And obviously these are just my opinions, but this is something I think about a lot. And so I'm really curious to hear your opinions in the comments. And please make sure that you're subscribed and following me on Instagram, and let me know in the comments how this video came out, because it's a different camera, so let me know how it looks. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. I love you, Jesus loves you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.